Welcome to ISKU Studio. Today we are going to find out what the ISKU Plus concept is all about and how this furniture concept will create safer environment for its users. In the studio we have ISKU's Development Manager, PhD in Chemistry, Kari Soljamo, and ISKU's Business Manager for Healthcare Sector, Jonas Wikström. Welcome. ISKU is a Finnish family business and your history starts in 1928. Tell us shortly about ISKU and ISKU Plus concept.
Yes, indeed. So ISKU is over 90 years old, furniture manufacturer, but also designer and sales company. And currently we have embedded deeply in our values that we are manufacturing, designing and selling furniture in environment friendly and sustainable manner. And that's something where we have succeeded as well. So that's ISKU in short.
And what is antimicrobial furniture? It's in our case, it's a large, comprehensive furnishing solution. So we have a furniture for many applications, schools, offices, and so on. And ISKU Plus is furniture which has antimicrobial treatment in high-touch surfaces.
Is this ISKU Plus concept suitable all of your products?
Yes, almost for everything. A couple of exceptions exist, but we can find solution for all public premises.
We humans are in daily contact with contaminated surface at work and public spaces. Seldom do we think about the amount of microbes being transmitted by door handles, work desks, or public transport. What kind of problems and expenses are caused by contaminated surface in hospital environment?
Yeah, the contaminated surfaces, they are causing more infections because we know that the touch surfaces are transmitting bacteria which are causing these infections, and also the big problem is antimicrobial resistant bacteria, and especially in Southern Europe, not a big one in Finland. And the cost what they are causing is more infections, more so-called hospital infections, more costs.
What are the benefits of using antimicrobial surface in hospital environments?
Let's say more cleaner surfaces, less bacteria and microbes on surfaces, and this means that less infections and less transmitting bacteria on surfaces.
What kind of problems and expenses are caused by contaminated surface in normal office environments?
Yes, so office environment is very different than hospital environment. In hospital environments, we are talking about infections which are causing prolonged time of healing and recovery, and that's really critical. And there it affects the efficiency of the hospital in general. In the work environments, we are talking about sick leaves mostly, and sick leaves is a major cost in Nordic countries especially, and in other countries as well, where we have higher level of social security. So that one sick leave day costs more in an environment where we have higher social security. One sick leave, that's on average in Finland that's 350 euros. In other countries more or less. But what's the actual issue is when we have epidemic in work environment, and we have some diseases which are transmitted among the work environment between colleagues, and it is estimated that 60% of productivity losses in the United States especially are caused by employees coming to work while they are sick.
The human and economic expenses, they are rough. Now we can talk about How will ISKU solve this problem? What does antimicrobial mean?
Antimicrobial surface is the surface which is eliminating microbes, for example, viruses and bacteria, and or it prevents the growth of the bacteria on the surface.
What is the science behind the antimicrobial activity in ISKU Plus products?
In ISKU Plus products, we are using mostly 3 different technologies. One is silver-based additives. Then we are using copper-containing metal alloys and metal alloy surfaces, and then so-called ISKU technology. And silver additives are mixed to material, so they are permanently there, and that additive is releasing tiny amount of silver, and the silver ion is one which kills the bacteria. Very similar phenomenon is happening with copper surfaces. The copper ion is causing the death of the bacteria or virus. And then ISKU technology it's a permanent coating on fibers in fabrics, and it's eliminating bacteria in contact, in physical contact.
They are embedded in the material. That's one thing that's worth highlighting, that we are talking about permanent feature. So there are plenty of applications out there which are sprayed on top of surface or other ways applied. But when we are mixing these technologies together with the material, that means that we are stretching the lifetime of this antimicrobial feature up to the lifetime of a conventional furniture product. So you don't need to maintain it separately, you don't need to renew it. It's just there.
Let's talk about safety. Are ISKU Plus antimicrobial materials safe?
Yes, they are. For example, the silver-containing additives are the type which you can use in the food packaging or in the products which are in contact with the food. We are now making a study in Stockholm with the Royal Technical University, and the idea is to see how artificial aging is influencing on antimicrobial properties, and so far very good results. No changes happens with aging. And then we are looking how much we can extract silver from surface using artificial sweat, and the amount of silver is extremely low, almost on the detection level. So still they are effective against bacteria, but very safe for the users and also for environment.
Let's talk about the scientific basis of antimicrobial properties. What kind of research data and scientific evidence are there regarding the efficacy of antimicrobial furniture?
There are roughly 3,500 up to 4,000 publications of antimicrobial surfaces and how effective they are and the properties. What we have done some case studies where we have compared antimicrobial species with the reference species, looking at the total bacteria content, identification of bacteria, looking the cleanness of the surfaces with the ATP measurements, and also checking the viruses from surface. And then we are now conducting the study where we are using the special colors for bacteria and looking how they survive on the surface with the aid of fluorescence microscope. And I mentioned that study what we are conducting in Sweden, and then we are now planning studies where we are looking viruses on antimicrobial surfaces.
And regarding these research and studies, we have all these studies and references available, and we are of course willing to discuss about those, and we have also the data available regarding our own studies. And one really notable research that we have done in school environment was in Taatila school in Finland, and there in really practical manner we compared what's the difference between conventional classroom and antimicrobial classroom. So in conventional classroom we had furniture solution without this technology, and in antimicrobial classroom we had this technology. And there we find that in antimicrobial classroom we see significantly reduced amounts of microbes on the surfaces. And we are also seeing that during the 6 months period of researching, we were able to reduce the amount of short-term absenteeism in this antimicrobial classroom by 52%, which is really significant if we are thinking about what does that mean in working environments and other interiors.
We just don't rely on standardized tests what are done in laboratory. We want also to see in practice how these surfaces are working.
Indeed.
What about money? The decision makers in organization, they are interested in about the money spent in furniture investments. What is the difference between the price in regular and antimicrobial furniture?
That's probably the most asked question regarding this concept, and the answer is not a lot. So that depends on the product and depends on the amount of antimicrobial surfaces that we are applying on the product. So we are using these technologies on laminates, paints, varnishes, plastics, and on fabrics. And that means that in products where we have really like broad coverage of these technologies, we are talking about higher costs or higher difference in if we are comparing conventional equivalent to this antimicrobial one. And then if we are talking about something very simple with really few touch surfaces, coffee table or so, the price difference is really low. On average, we are talking about something like 20%. 20% is not a lot at all if we are putting this into the context of sick leaves and infections, since that kind of difference can be paid back in really short time.
Why I should invest to antimicrobial furniture?
We have conventional furniture products that we have done and manufactured over 90 years, and then we have these antimicrobial equivalents where we have this technology embedded. The key difference between these in a sense of investment is that in the conventional one we don't have this kind of financing mechanism as we have in this antimicrobial one, since this antimicrobial furniture can actually finance itself with reduced sick leaves, reduced amount of infections, etc. So this is something that the furniture industry haven't seen before.
ISKU is a part of Alliance formed by 6 companies to aiming to develop and market antimicrobial comprehensive solution all around the world. Briefly, what does the ISKU Alliance enable to ISKU's clients?
So this high-tech alliance is a consortium of 6 companies which are all developing and selling solutions to improve indoor hygiene. And ISKU is there among those companies with furniture solutions, but then we have other companies which are specializing in other essential touch surfaces. Few examples, we have their company manufacturing door handles, very essential high-touch surface. Then we have companies specializing in paints, varnishes, and so on. You can manufacture different kinds of things with those materials. Then we have also company that is specializing in rails and all kinds of applications that you can have in your sanitation areas and so on. So we can actually provide really holistic solutions together with these companies, and we can get really good results and really effective antimicrobial areas.
We are making studies together, case studies. So more studies and more info when we are sharing the costs. And also we have a cost benefit for antimicrobial materials because we are using the same solutions and there's a bigger volume and also lower prices and that helps also our customers because as you mentioned the solution is unique in the world. Nowhere is this kind of alliance which can provide this kind of holistic solution.
So there are actually some individual products or something done in isolation, but our ISKU Alliance is something that's totally unique, globally speaking.
What about your references? What kind of reference customer or project ISKU Plus concept have?
Yes, so we have references in all areas of our key segments. So we have references in healthcare segment, as we have been discussing broadly about healthcare segment. We have there some intensive care units, we have some occupational healthcare units, and so on. Some notable ones, if I mention Coxa, which is a joint replacement unit here in Finland. Then we have in Vilnius, we have bone marrow transplantation intensive care unit, which is also done with our concept. And we have also in Istanbul, we have really beautiful looking one, which is Children's Hospital, Asipani Maslak. Then we have some schools here in Finland. And we have also more conventional working environments, offices. And one example is actually we are here today in Lahti, and we have next to our office we have University of Applied Science, where some key co-working spaces have furnished with our antimicrobial solutions to ensure that those areas where there are multiple users throughout the same day, they are furnished with antimicrobial touch surfaces, which is making the difference there.